You guys, I've been needing to make this video for a long time, but I'm just going to be honest. This is a video that I've been putting it off, but I feel like I just can't put it off anymore. I need to share my truth. I need to tell my story. Just kidding. Okay, so here's what happened. I had just finished riding the Oklawaha Greenway. By the way, can we just enjoy saying that together? Let's say it 3 times. Oklawaha, Oklawaha, Oklawaha. Where the sun comes whistling down the lane. I don't know the words. I've never was a big fan of musicals. But anyway, the Oklawaha Greenway in Hendersonville, North Carolina. And so I thought, I'm hungry. Let's go get some food. I saw a Denny's. I said, good enough for me. So I'm standing there in the Denny's. The lady asked how many, and I said 1. So there were a few people standing around, and this other guy heard me say 1. And turns out he was just 1 as well. And so now, there's no way I could have ever anticipated this, so I did not have a ready answer. He comes over to me. This guy looked to be about, 70 years old, white hair, a long white beard and mustache. He looked like Santa Claus. He looked very much like Santa Claus. If he is not making money as a mall Santa, as a side hustle every year, then he's missing a great opportunity. So Santa Claus walks over to me and he just says, "Hey, I heard you say that you're dining alone. Would you like to share a table with me?" Now, y'all, despite what you may think because of the way I carry on these videos, your boy is an introvert. I enjoy being alone. I heard somebody say a long time ago, if you can be alone and enjoy the company, you're blessed. Well, I'm blessed. I enjoy riding trails by myself. I enjoy doing all kinds of things by myself. I pretty much do almost everything by myself. I've got friends, I got family, but I can be absolutely fine. And so the thought of being put in a situation where I'm going to have to make conversation with a stranger, that's a nightmare for me. But when I'm in a situation like that, I don't think on my feet quick enough. And so this was me. Sure. And in the back of my head, myself started screaming to myself, "Why did you say sure, you idiot?" And so, since then, I've had people suggest things that I could have said, such as, I need to check my email, or I need to do some work on my phone, or I need to do, there's things that you could come up with that you could have as a ready response. And I'll remember those for in the future. But I said, okay, and then I was like, well, how bad can it be? And so we sit down and we start talking, and let's see, this was it was a couple of years ago, and so I had just kind of experienced a tremendous upheaval in my personal life that I won't go into, but this guy starts asking me lots of questions, and he's asking personal questions, and so I'm telling them kind of what's been going on and what happened, and he doesn't know me, I don't know him. I'm like, this there's no way this could come back to bite me. Anyway, so we're talking, and so and frankly, to be honest, I wasn't interested in his life, but I started asking him some of the same questions because, turnabout is fair play, didn't want to be rude. And so I'm like, oh, how about you? What are you doing? Turns out he had been on the coast of South Carolina visiting his daughter and was on the way back to his home, which I believe he said was in Brevard, North Carolina. I had told him about being a pastor's son and growing up in the church. I think I might have told him that my dad was an Assembly of God pastor, and he said, oh, Assembly of God, they're very conservative, aren't they? Or something like that. And I thought, well. And he had told me about his divorce. He had been married for a very long time, had adult children, but had gone through a divorce. And I told him about being single, at this stage of my life, and that I had been married before. So he looked at me and he said, so what do you do about sex? My first thought was, we were sort of close to a table of women, like 4 women sitting at the next table. And my first thought was, I hope they didn't hear that and wonder, why is this guy talking to me that way? But I just was like, well, I don't know. He said, what does your Bible say about that? And I was like, okay, Santa Claus, you done got real creepy real fast. So we go on for a while, and we each had, when the food came, we ate our food, we each had shared, I guess, everything that was worth sharing, or everything that we intended to share about our personal lives. And that's when Santa Claus lowered the boom on me. This was one of the weirdest things ever, for me anyway. So we're sitting there, and he just got quiet and just started staring at me intently. Just not saying a word for a very long time. I had to have been noticeably fidgeting and just, it was so awkward and uncomfortable. It was probably like a full minute and a half. And after you get through watching this video, just use a stopwatch or something on your phone and just pay attention to how long that would be to sit at a table with someone just looking at you with a creepy smile on his face and not saying a word. And I even said something along the lines of, so, yep, I guess we're finished eating, or I don't know what I said, but I was trying to get him to respond, and he didn't. So after a good 90 seconds to 2 minutes of just sitting in silence, he looked at me. Now keep in mind, he had already told me about having been married and having children. So that caused me to think, certain things about this guy. Okay. He looked at me and he said, I realized not long ago that I am actually attracted to men. I'm like, Santa Claus, you are barking up the wrong tree, brother. And I'm just looking at him like, trying to keep the best poker face ever. He told me how he had come out to his children and his daughter thought it was wonderful. That may or may not have been true. Who knows? I'm just sitting there and I'm like, Santa Claus, you don't know it, but you probably picked on the one person in this restaurant least likely to look upon your advances in a favorable way. I'll just leave it at that. I really didn't say anything else, yay or nay, pro or con. He did not actually, try to get me to go home with him or anything like that. But single most bizarre lunch I've ever had in my life. At that point, I basically said, "Oh, look at the time! I got to get home," and so we go up and we pay, and I'm kind of at this now. I'm fully aware of everything that's happening, and I'm thinking a few steps ahead, which I should have been thinking a few steps ahead when he first asked me to sit down and have lunch with him, but I wasn't. But this time I'm like, what's going to happen when we go outside? Is he going to try to get in my car? Is he going to ask me to go somewhere with him? What's going to, I got to get out of this. So I told him I had to go to the restroom. I don't even remember. I might not have needed to go to the restroom, but I decided that I was going to the restroom to hopefully give him time to pay and get gone, to get out. So I went into the restroom. When I came out, I was expecting to see him in the parking lot, maybe just hanging around, but he was gone, apparently. He had left, and I was relieved. And so then I left too, and realized that I had a really interesting story to reflect on and to tell people in the future. The people at my job, they loved it. They thought it was hilarious. Absolutely weirdest lunch I ever had on a bike trip. Weirdest lunch I've ever had, period. Are you kidding me? I go into a Denny's after a bike ride to get a quick bite to eat, end up sharing a table with Santa Claus, a 70-year-old Santa Claus that I've never met before, who ends up telling me that he's a divorced father who has just recently realized that he's homosexual. Oh, and this happened after he sits and stares at me in silence for about 2 minutes with a creepy grin on his face. You can't make this stuff up, folks. So let's see, what would be the moral of this story? Absolutely do not accept random invitations from strangers to sit at their table and have lunch with them. I mean, heck, my dad would. There's probably a lot of gregarious, outgoing extroverts out there who would just absolutely love such an opportunity to meet someone new. Not me. It has been table for one, please, ever since that day.
Santa, I've been good this year. Make your list and check it twice. I'll leave you a note right here underneath the Christmas lights. Carols and bells